Hello everyone, my name is Colin Molitor, and today I'll be presenting my Capstone project, Cyberhawk's Pathway to Part 108 Implementation. This project explores how leadership, safety, and regulatory readiness intersect and how a biblical worldview can guide an aviation organization like Cyberhawk through significant regulatory change with excellence and stewardship. I want to begin with this picture, a drone flying over electrical lines, thousands of people depending on that infrastructure to stay warm, safe, and connected. Now imagine a single safety oversight causing property damage, power outages, or even an injury. This scenario illustrates why aviation safety is more than just regulatory compliance. It's a matter of stewardship. Scripture tells us, whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord, in Colossians 3:23. This project is built on that principle, that excellence, safety, and diligence in aviation operations are expressions of biblical stewardship. Before diving in, I want to clarify the regulatory foundation. Right now, most commercial drone operations in the United States fall under Part 107, which regulates remote pilots, visual line-of-sight requirements, and basic operational limitations. The upcoming Part 108 rule will fundamentally shift the system. Instead of focusing mainly on individual pilots, Part 108 will require organizations such as Cyberhawk to earn operating certificates, implement safety management systems, and meet higher standards for advanced operations such as beyond visual line of sight and expanded oversight. Since my audience may not work directly in unmanned aircraft systems, I'll walk through every requirement in plain language as we go. Now, why does this matter to the industry and to Christians? This transition is important for two major reasons. First, for the aviation industry, Part 108 will move drones into a more traditional, safety management system-driven regulatory framework. This creates increased accountability, higher safety expectations, and expanded operational potential. Secondly, for Christians working in aviation, we are called to protect human life, steward resources responsibly, and pursue excellence in everything we build or operate. Proverbs 21:5 teaches that the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, reinforcing the biblical imperative of careful planning, especially in safety-critical environments like aviation. Luke 14:28 also teaches that careful planning is essential for all kinds of tasks, from building a tower to flying a drone. The thesis of my project is this: Cyberhawk can achieve regulatory readiness, operational safety, and organizational resilience for the FAA Part 108 transition by rewriting its operations manual to include a safety management system and implementing a dual-track roadmap through the integrated lenses of leadership, safety, and regulation. Over the course of this presentation, I will go over the research that I put into my leadership lens, the safety lens, the regulatory/operational lens, and my biblical worldview integration. Then we'll go into my implementation and results and reflection. Starting with the leadership lens, my research began with examining leadership. The literature consistently shows that leadership engagement is the number one factor influencing organizational safety culture. Studies by Gettin, Oprea, Cantorino, and colleagues and others show that leaders shape employees' motivation, performance, and willingness to adopt new systems. For Cyberhawk, leadership is already strong, globally distributed, but unified in messaging. This foundation is essential because implementing an SMS under Part 108 isn't just a procedural change, it's a cultural transformation. And from a biblical worldview, leadership is rooted in humility, accountability, and service, traits modeled by Christ. Next, I analyzed the safety literature. The Federal Aviation Administration and the National Transportation Safety Board emphasized that safety management systems are the future of aviation safety. Safety management systems include four pillars: policy, risk management, assurance, and promotion. Each pillar also aligns with biblical themes like diligence, accountability, and the protection of life. Research also shows that training must be structured and intentional to prove safety behavior truly. Casey and colleagues emphasize training stickiness, meaning training must be practical, repeatable, and reinforced for it to be truly learned. For CyberHawk, these safety principles already guide many of their practices, but Part 108 will require formalizing and documenting them more systematically. My research also identified challenges. Several studies show that safety management system programs can be resource intensive, especially for global, rapidly scaling companies. Training quality can vary significantly, especially in fast-moving technological fields like unmanned aircraft systems. And the regulatory environment is still immature. Researchers like Sun and Hubbard highlight gaps in drone registration systems and certification processes across the United States. Understanding these challenges helped shape realistic recommendations for CyberHawk. I then examined the regulatory landscape. Part 108 will require organizations to demonstrate safety management system compliance, documented procedures, safety reporting, and operational oversight. This shift mirrors manned aviation and supports more advanced operations such as beyond visual line of sight. Collaborations among universities, the FAA, and industry partners such as NASA's Beyond Visual Line of Sight initiatives are shaping these standards today. In short, Part 108 is both a challenge and a significant opportunity for companies like CyberHawk. Throughout the project, my biblical worldview guided my interpretation. The Bible represents a clear framework of creation, fall, and redemption. Creation calls us to steward technology and resources wisely. The fall explains why human error, shortcuts, and poor communication threaten aviation safety. And redemption encourages us to restore order through systems like safety management systems that protect people and honor God. Verses like Luke 14:28, Proverbs 21:5, and Colossians 3:23 reinforce the importance of planning, diligence, and excellence, principles that align directly with building safe aviation systems. My implementation work focused on preparing CyberHawk for Part 108 while minimizing disruptions to ongoing operations. The project followed 3 phases. Phase 1 was to conduct a gap analysis, leadership alignment, and resource planning. Phase 2 is safety management system and employee engagement structure. And Phase 3 is certification readiness after the final rule. My contribution centered on Phase 1, building the foundation needed for Phases 2 and 3. During my implementation hours, I conducted a comprehensive Part 5 safety management system gap analysis. I reviewed CyberHawk's manuals, training processes, safety reports, organizational structure, and program documentation. I had multiple discussions with my mentor, examining existing reporting tools and compared all of them to FAA requirements. This was a detailed, line-by-line assessment of the company's readiness. The final deliverable was a comprehensive safety management system assessment package that included an executive summary, an overview of what a safety management system is, my methodology for doing this assessment, a 1-page results table, followed by detailed findings going through every requirement required by Part 5, and lastly, my prioritized recommendations for what CyberHawk should do to meet the standards of Part 5 and ultimately meet the standards of Part 108. This deliverable becomes a CyberHawk's blueprint for Phase 2 implementation. The analysis produced several key results. CyberHawk already meets roughly a third of the SMS requirements, primarily in safety reporting and leadership engagement. Second, about 40% of requirements are only partially met, indicating that documentation or formalization is needed. Finally, the remaining 30% consists of foundational SMS documents that must be written for Part 108. Perhaps most importantly, CyberHawk's culture is ready for this transition. The company already holds weekly safety meetings and fosters open reporting to their employees. This is the one-page table that I pulled from my assessment package to CyberHawk, showing that each safety management system component detailed in Part 105, how it's met, how it's not met or partially met, and the summary of CyberHawk's current standing. This will make it easy for CyberHawk to determine what they are doing, what they're not doing, and what they need to be doing. This capstone has taught me that safety management system implementation is far more cultural than procedural. CyberHawk is more prepared than expected, which validated my thesis. One personal moment that shaped my conclusion was working directly with my mentor, who not only understood safety, but also embraced accountability and diligence, reminding me that aviation safely reflects God-honoring stewardship. My conclusion is that CyberHawk is well positioned for the regulatory shift, and its leadership culture will be the determining factor in a successful transition. In conclusion, CyberHawk can achieve regulatory readiness, operational safety, and organizational resilience through leadership engagement, safety culture, and proactive Part 108 preparation. Through a dual-track strategy grounded in leadership engagement, proactive SMS development, and biblical stewardship. We've reviewed the leadership, safety, and regulatory research and walked through the implementation work and examined the results. As we approach the new era of UAS regulation, I challenge each of us, whether pilots, leaders, or educators, to pursue excellence, diligence, and stewardship in all we do. Thank you for your time.